looking
we're
up
waiting
gaming news. Yeah, crazy how that works. Trying to be prepared.
I mean, I've got dual monitors, so if I've got stuff, it's up here.
Yeah. So who's bringing us in?
Let's let our guest do it.
Not me.
I'll do it.
All right, fine, I'll do it. I got it because it's my turn in line, anyways. Okay.
So he tries to pawn it off on me.
Yeah, see, he like. All right, Godfather, bring us in.
What's up, Nomad Nation? You've got Godfather. You've got Chungus above me. You've got the Fireball over there. And our guest today. Ooh. God damn it. I'll get it right one of these times. Crest Rider up there in the corner. And today we make up your Nomad Gamers. So let's get into socials. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you very much for being a follower. We really do appreciate it. If you would, if you have stumbled upon us and you're not a follower, hit the follow button, turn on all your notifications. That way, every time the Nomad Gamers come out with any kind of content, you're being notified. If you're watching us over on YouTube, thank you very much yet again. You found a home of the Nomad Gamers. Somewhere right below me, you'll see a subscribe button. I'm a little iffy on this part. Somewhere in the middle in that black space, you're going to see a heart. Over by Fireball, you're going to see a thumbs up. Smash all three of those for us. That way, every time we bring you content, you are being notified. And I also want to give a special shout out to all of Fireball's social media, to include his OnlyFans.
Yeah, right. There ain't no OnlyFans.
Which Godfather is the cameraman for, so they've been putting in some work with that.
Doot.
He is in the mood. He didn't even flinch at that. That's crazy. All right.
It's funny because, you know, everyone talks about that website like it's for one purpose only, but that's not what it was started for. It was started as a way of, you know, being able to create exclusive content for paying subscribers, and that particular industry just kind of took it over.
Kind of like what Patreon is. But
Patreon's like the high class, like normal. OnlyFans is like going to the corner street, right? You know, the corner, the street of the corner, whatever.
Okay, well, this is a G-rated program. Hey, this is a G-rated program.
Let's get back. No, we cuss.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'll start us off with something small while everybody gets their bearings. Chungus and I, we both know this, but Super Earth has been saved. It was a week-long battle fighting on Super Earth against the Illuminates. We managed to defeat the Illuminate with two mega cities left. Bot divers came in clutch with bringing the DSS back online, which kept us from losing another mega city. However, it's funny because there's currently a review bomb going on right now for Helldivers because the Chinese player base thinks that the game is scripted and thinks that we were going to win Super Earth no matter what. So now they're like, we should.
So what they did was, because Chinese players are Chinese, one of the cities was located in China. So that's where they all went, to the exclusion of everything else. They protected their homeland.
Mm-hmm.
They thought when they got the defense up to 100% that would be done, not knowing that this event is an ongoing one and you can't secure a location. So when it hit 99% and stopped, they just kept going and going and going, not realizing that they couldn't finish it. And that's a lot of what their issue is going, because they left the rest of the planet to just get glassed as long as China survived.
Yeah, we lost New York, sadly.
And the president of Super Earth.
And the president of Super Earth, yep. Apparently he was a dog, though, because he was protecting the bunker with just a pistol.
One of our alarms is going off out
Yeah,
front.
I know. Take me off.
Which one?
Off screen. I'm gonna go check.
I guarantee you, it's probably
It sounds like fireballs.
it does.
Because of course, it would go off just
Yep.
as we start.
Well, there's mowing going on the property too, so there's that.
So I think it's funny that you call me a guest, but I've been on the podcast enough times just to be an on again, off again host.
Well, yeah.
At what point do you stop being a guest and you're just a regular?
At this point, he is a regular. He's got a great point in that.
Yeah, he brings up a valid point. So I have some news, but I'm reading through it to make sure I have enough before I report on it.
All right. Hey, I think it was.
Bullshit.
I think it was my car or my girlfriend's car.
Yeah, it sounded like your car. So I'll start us off with some industry news. And I'm gonna murder this name. It's a Japanese name, so I'm definitely gonna murder it. Sushi Yoshida warns subscription service could become dangerous for developers. And I'm going to read a quote from him, because when I was scanning this quote jumped out at me. If the big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry. I thought that was a very powerful statement, but then as you go down a little bit, this is going to shock some people because it shocked me. The same individual believes Sony delivered a healthier subscription model. This is being reported by Game Developer with a May 28th, 2025 date on it for release.
So we have proof that game publishing companies dictating what kinds of games should be made and not listening to the player bases is a total fuck up with Flare Obscure Expedition 33. They said for the longest time that turn-based games didn't have a future. Nobody wanted them. Nobody liked them.
And they're super popular right now.
This company puts out one that's turn-based, and everybody jumped on it. It absolutely blew up.
I mean, and you could say Expedition 33, but look at Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate is a turn-based. Your Persona games are turn-based. They have all done phenomenal.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't some of the older Final Fantasies also turn-based?
Everything prior to 7 was turn-based. 7 came out with the ATB gauge, the active time battle. 10 went to a conditional turn-based, and 11 being an MMO, of course, and then 12 started the slew of mixture of active and command-based.
Yeah.
So
I started losing on Final Fantasy at the newer ones that were coming out.
So the big thing to take away from that is game developers get their priorities mixed up and don't necessarily know what players want. They think they do. And sometimes they put out a really good game that draws a lot of attention and they're like, oh, we need that, double down on that. But at the same time, players just sit there being like, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. And they tell them over and over and over, and they don't listen, and they don't put one out there to see, because the real way that gamers speak is with their wallets.
I mean,
if you don't buy it, they're not going to make it.
Also, looking at, I know how you said gamers, they'll sit there and chant what they want. Look at the amount of, I guess the waves that gamers are making on social media talking about how they want a Battlefront 3.
And Game companies, they just don't. They listen to the shareholders, and the shareholders don't necessarily know what the hell they're talking about. They just want profit. The thing to also remember is your core group of gamers are people who are around my age down to your age.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a large number of people. Now, the ones that are around my age and older, reaction speeds are starting to slow down. The more complex stuff is starting to not necessarily overwhelm, but we can't hit the ground running on it like we used to. It's natural with age to slow down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Turn-based gives you plenty of time to sit there and think about what you're doing.
Plot your next moves.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I have always
And-
preferred turn-based games because they're less stressful, they're less hectic.
Hold on,
Now, I do
even
have a
then.
question.
Oh, go ahead, Godfather.
Are they still doing the E3 or a big game con?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, there's all kinds
the
of
reason
gaming
why-
expos.
the reason why I asked that is because I watched it for like 2 or 3 years, and the last year that I watched it was when they announced Fallout 76. It happened, I want to say, mid-June, mid to early June, and it seems like one of their problems is they are not advertising this as highly as they used to. Because I know for those 3 years, I knew about it in April, I knew about it in May, and I knew about it again right after Memorial Day to remind me to tune in from, I think it was like June 8th through the 16th, or it was something like that. But here
So-
in recent years, I can't remember them ever.
E3 was discontinued in
Advertising,
2023.
Yeah.
And that's because
they're
a
cheap.
lot of developers actually started pulling out in favor of doing their own stream whenever they want, kind of like the Nintendo Direct. They just
Yep.
why go to this big convention and spend all this money when we can literally just set a camera up and just do what we want when we want.
Well,
That being
why
said, things like Summer Game Fest still exist.
PAX.
PAX still exists. There you get some stuff even out of Comic Cons.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say.
And the one in Germany, GDC.
I was gonna say. I think Insomnia something. I thought Insomnia stopped. Because I remember one of the content creators I used to follow as a kid used to go to Insomnia all the time.
But the point remains that there are still conventions where they put out these announcements and stuff, but a lot of companies have moved to just their own press releases when they feel like it. Although for some weird reason, a couple of them in recent years have taken to advertising at award shows or Super Bowl, and you just
Excuse me.
And it's almost like they think the gamers are actually watching these goddamn things.
Right?
Instead of being on their product, playing their game, they think that we're watching some stupid award show. However, back to the point I was gonna make was why, I think they're making a mistake by not doing that and all of them pulling out and doing their own goddamn announcements. Because if you were to have exclusive collectibles, almost like what Comic-Con does, but revolve it around the gaming industry, you'd have one hell of a following at that point. As long as you kept coming out with collectibles and you didn't sell them after that at GameCon or whatever the hell they named
I
it.
mean, kind of like what Pokemon did with this new release of Pikachu or something like that, where it was like a Van Gogh Pikachu, and
Yep.
it was only sold at certain places.
But yeah, but I guess what I'm saying though is if they were to do that, and you had to be there, they would probably get pretty good attendance if they would announce stuff during that gathering. I guess I don't know what you call it, but then also have exclusive content
That's
Man,
the
sky
thing,
would be the
though, is
limit
they
for it.
going to these conventions. They spent so much money doing it,
It wasn't
and
profitable.
they weren't making a profit on it. They were actively losing money. It's kind of like BlizzCon every year. They lost money hand over fist doing it, but it generated so much awareness, hype, pre-order sales for the next expansion of World of Warcraft and whatever other games that they had. They had another one coming out, Diablo and whatnot.
Do they still have
kept
StarCraft going?
Yes and no. Now that Microsoft has taken over ownership of Blizzard, they have actually licensed out the StarCraft IP, I believe, to a Korean company that wanted to make another StarCraft game because StarCraft is like the national game of Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to have another iteration out, and Blizzard's like, we're not doing anything with it. So they actually bought a license to make a game. So we should be seeing something on that here.
Speaking of Microsoft,
Xbox
has postponed its handhold. They're focusing more on gaming, enhancing the gaming experience on Windows 11. They're still working with Asus to get the handheld out by the end of 2025. It's just a delay, That's it. That's the only news update on the Xbox handheld.
So they've delayed it, and okay, that. I mean, especially I guess you could be okay with that because I'm okay with that just because it is a new. I guess it'd be a new system, and I would rather see a new system come out with better operating quality so that it doesn't shoot itself in the foot right off the bat, kind of like what the Wii U did.
Yeah.
How we were talking about Gamescom, I just, I'm going through this game developer website and looking at stuff, and it said update, and this was from May 27th of 25. It says update, Gamescom Lithium organizers respond to mismanagement allegations. So it sounds like somebody out there is trying to do the idea that I put out there, but maybe not with the exclusive content or the exclusive collectibles, and it sounds like they shit the bed.
Well, if you hold on, I got a comment coming in real quick.
And it's Brazil developers that is accusing them of stuff.
I just got somebody at Kick just screaming "lock it" in my chat, so I appreciate that. I will say, and this is I kind of noticed this with the arrival of COVID-19 when that happened, is we started seeing a lot of these gaming conventions die off, and I think I think it's a bad thing just because, like Crest Rider said, even though a lot of companies lost money, going to these conventions, it generated a lot of hype and a lot of attention for their new and upcoming games. I mean, let's go back to E3 and 76, for example. How much hype and how much awareness did that generate right off the bat when they announced it? Although the launch of the game wasn't that great, it still had everybody.
I was gonna say you can't mix.
It still had everybody, like, before the launch of the game. It was like one of the most anticipated games coming around the corner.
It was? Sorry, what?
76, when they announced it at E3.
It was very anticipated because everybody thought, oh, Fallout co-op, awesome. Literally what people have wanted for quite some time now.
Exactly.
And they screwed up on the launch. We're not arguing that.
No.
But they've stayed with it, and the game has become
it's a great game.
Almost everything it should have been from the start.
Exactly.
But that's my point exactly, though, is the amount of hype and the amount
but
of
it generated a lot of hype, and that's what we're talking about is, you get up on stage and you show everyone this fantastic game, especially when you take an iconic song and stick it in the background after doing a fresh recording of it.
Yeah, that was...
And
as much hype as it generated, I'm all for things like that to not continue. I would rather these companies go off of their own merit to sell me a game, because if you can't entice me enough going forward to play your titles, then you don't deserve my entertainment hours.
And I
Yeah,
think
but-
that's
but-
part of why these have stopped is like Fireball said, when the pandemic shut everything down and these didn't happen for a year or two, all of a sudden these companies are seeing, hey, we didn't just hemorrhage a ton of money this quarter. We're still putting press information out on games that we're developing and getting approximately the same net result. Because now they can just stick the game in the hands of a big streamer and generate thousands of sales from everybody watching, you know, the next big influencer play this game and go running after it themselves.
Yeah. And
How
that's
do you
where
put it
like
that way?
and that's like and I'm gonna be kind of stepping back a little bit, talking about how, you know, we were talking about video games and the age range of how we like certain video games. The other big thing, and this is kind of a catch-22 when it comes to streaming, everybody wants to be a streamer nowadays, and then
Yep.
you get games that get really competitive, like Call of Duty Warzone or something like that. I got another message. Oh, another ad. But
I say I'm watching Twitch.
yeah, I'm just getting a bunch of ad stuff on Kick, which I'll get around to that eventually. But back to what I was saying is you got everybody trying to go, you know, try hard, or, you know, they're trying to be the next like Ninja of Fortnite or whatever. And then you got people like us who work a 9 to 5, and then we come home, we want to play video games, and we can't play that video game anymore because we have to literally try as hard as we can to try to at least win a game. And I don't know about you guys, but getting my ass handed to me isn't fun.
As a Dark
What
Souls
game-
player, right? Like I legitimately.
What game are you getting your ass handed to you?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. Yeah, he's gonna talk about Call of Duty.
Well,
See, the thing is, though, when it comes to competitive games in and of themselves, they're competitive. What do you
See,
expect out of them?
you know what your problem is, Fireball.
I'm playing Call of Duty, that's my problem.
I mean, yes, but you
and the
you
squeakers
have
are kicking your ass.
right, but he has memories of being the squeaker kicking ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's falling into the trap of he's getting
Yeah.
older and he's slowing down. Yes, you guys are still quite a bit younger than we are, but you're not as young as they are.
No.
See, the
So
thing
it's
is, like,
your turn to deal with it.
It's for me. It's not an issue of like reaction time or anything like that. It's genuinely just the games are unfun now. Those competitive shooter games, they're one and the same.
I'll give you a hint.
age.
I don't
They,
know.
they
I
were
kinda-
always like that.
Yeah, so I've gotten to the age where I'm starting to realize that, and it's like I don't really care.
CS2 is pretty fun.
See,
Yeah, CS2 is
but
actually
then
pretty
then you got me playing.
Fantasy Life.
Yeah, my
which-
fantasy
I
life.
don't know if you some news on Fantasy Life. There's a plan for a Switch 2 upgrade for it.
So yeah, and I got an email about that actually. It was like $295 to upgrade to the Switch 2 version. So I mean, less than $3, and I could get the version. Which, I mean, okay, yeah, that I'd see that as an acceptable price. I mean,
Except you don't own the game.
that being
without the
said,
license at any point in
when
time.
Xbox and PlayStation both went from the Xbox One to the Series X and PS4 to PS5 for like 6 months, everything that was just coming out or just came out got a free upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Because they
And
did it with, if I remember correctly, they did it with Valhalla. They did it with.
There was all kinds of games that got free
Yeah.
upgraded editions. It was, like I said, everything that was like 6 months on either side of that launch just automatically got upgraded editions for free. I remember them sending out an email saying, hey, you know, we're coming on the deadline of these free upgrades, you know, get them or you're out of
Get them
luck.
while they're hot. Yeah.
So it kind of sucks that Nintendo's being like, oh yeah, you know, that game that you just bought 3 weeks ago, you know, give us more money and we'll let you have the upgraded edition. It's kind of a junky move on their part, but at the same time, $3. Now, if you've got like 10, 20, 30 games you're upgrading, that's going to get expensive fast. But if you only have one game, maybe two, That's not too bad.
Yeah.
That being said, I have
yeah.
no plans to get a Switch 2 anytime soon. So, because
Nope. As badly as I want to play Mario Kart, no, not right now.
now
Maybe this
don't get me
winter.
wrong. There are things that I want to play that are coming out on the Switch 2 only. Them putting the what was it, the GameCube retro games in the Nintendo Switch Online package for the Switch 2. That's kind of painful because there's a lot of games that I liked on the Switch or on the
Here's the
GameCube
other
that I
thing,
don't
too,
have
Crash
access
Carter.
to.
Are those going to be the games that you really enjoyed? Because I paid the extra money to get the NES and the Super NES package online,
And I have it too.
Every game that they were coming out with was like, it
Now-
wasn't that knockout title.
So the thing that got me started on the Nintendo Switch Online, and I can see we're losing Chungus on this a little bit.
No, not even that. It's literally my neck hurts.
So the thing that really caught my attention on it is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64, Majora's Mask for the Nintendo 64. They promised Banjo-Kazooie for the Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't recall if they've ever said anything about Banjo-Tooie, but I don't think we ever got that.
Banjo-Tooie is on Xbox Game Pass right now.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie have been part of the Rare Replay. In fact, those were put out on the Xbox Live Marketplace for the Xbox 360. So those have been
That's
out for a long time.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are both the Xbox 360 versions on Game
Right.
Pass as of right now.
Because when they did the Rare Replay, they literally took those same games, stuck them in the 10-game package and stuck them out. Because I was pissed when I fired up Banjo-Kazooie and I couldn't get any achievements because I already had them all.
Mhm.
But
I remember playing it when I was young,
so-
but yeah.
they promised Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance, along with its sequel, which I'm blanking on the title of Dark Age.
Silver Sun.
No, it was still Golden Sun. I'm blanking on the secondary title. But again, there were some fantastic games. Now, I made the mistake of signing up for it right away. Those games took like 2 years to start coming out. And
I remember playing.
they knew what they were doing with that.
I remember playing Gold when I got my Xbox Game Pass for the first
GoldenEye
time.
got
I
put on
remember,
there.
yeah, I remember playing GoldenEye for the first time in like 12 years, and it was like
GoldenEye.
Now,
I
the one thing that Nintendo has done with their Nintendo Switch Online is if you look at their sign-up page, the thing that everybody else just spent the last 4 years trying to lock down, Netflix, Steam, everybody account sharing, family sharing with people who weren't there. Nintendo's thing, here's the family plan. It's $80 a year. Do it with your household.
Yeah.
Grab a bunch of friends. We don't care. You can have up to 8 people on this thing. Split it up amongst your friends. Save some money.
yeah.
It's literally in their paperwork. It's either do it yourself or grab a bunch of friends. So I've got my Switch, my son's Switch, my wife's Switch. I've got my brother downstate and my nephew on there. And I've still got 3 slots open.
Yeah.
So it's like, grab 3 more people, get $30 from them, save myself a little bit of money on it, and everybody's got Nintendo Switch on. They don't care as long as they're getting paid for it.
I think
Yeah.
Xbox does it the best. I'm not gonna lie, because there is no limit to who you can have. If whoever is the main account holder for whatever Microsoft Game Pass or anything like that, any other account on that same system can access those games.
On the same system.
On the same system. That is, yeah, fair.
We're
However-
talking 8 different systems in multiple locations around
Oh, you
the
know what?
planet.
That's fair.
so-
No, I take that back.
I
That's
mean,
right. You
yeah,
literally just
I
said
guess-
brother downstate. That's
I
my
guess Nintendo does it well, but also Steam Family Plan, the new family plan that they have, does it really well, because you can have I believe you can have up to 5 people on a plan. However,
The
I think
ability to
it only goes off of whoever is the primary on that plan. They can only share their games.
So there's
And I know at one point it used to share them both ways.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but only one person could be playing the game at a time, which I don't know if that's
That has always been the thing, and
Okay.
that's kind of how Nintendo's working with their new virtual game cartridges. Which I really do need to grab my son's Switch and loan him a game, since we're on the same family plan. I should be able to loan him a game and test that out, because they have activated that. When I bought Fantasy Life on the Switch, which, don't get me wrong, I bought it on the PC. I started playing on the PC. Now, because I don't have a Steam Deck and I can't really afford one, it was cheaper for me to buy a second copy of the game and make use of their cloud saves, so I can pause on the computer, save it, go pick it up on the Switch, and I could just take the Switch with me, because, being a bus driver and going out on trips, that's portable. I can take it with me.
Yeah.
When I bought it, it literally, when it downloaded, the first thing it did was, when it's downloading, you get the little animation of clicking the virtual cartridge in, and it did pop a message, virtual cartridge inserted or something like that. And I have the ability to eject it and stuff, because when I bought DLC on the game, I had to pop it out and reinsert it through the options to get it to kick in. But it's interesting. But like I said, I need to see how that works, because maybe I could loan him the game, or even my wife, and get her to try it. And
Yeah. But moving forward, because I feel like we're kind of running out of something to talk about. Somebody, I think I gotta re-pull it back up real quick, but they said there was a poll out there done by comicbook.com talking about the five throwback games that deserve a remake.
I could come up with a long list of that, but I would like to raise a point with you. You have
Okay.
4 people with ADHD in this channel. There is never going to be a lack of things to talk about.
Yeah. So I think we're going to talk about my brother in Christ. I literally have 3 other things we can talk about right now.
And go.
Okay, cool. So here's why Battlefront 3. Oh, I'm hearing myself, God's Father. In your mic, I'm hearing myself.
What the fuck?
Did you push it over so it's pointing at him now?
No, I haven't done anything.
Uh-oh. Well, there we go. I think that whatever you've done has fixed it. I was going to... Sorry, Battlefront 3 is not happening for the sheer fact of some sleuthing being done by some individuals.
Okay.
EA only plans on focusing on a handful of franchises going forward. An internal email states that EA is focusing on Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. EA also plans to support Motive's Iron Man game and the next Star Wars Jedi title. There are no plans at this time. There are no plans at this time for any of them to be working for any EA team to be working on anything other than the franchises listed.
That is a kind of a symptom of a larger issue in the gaming industry as a whole, where these AAA companies have spread themselves so thin and just pumped out so much garbage over the last few years that people aren't buying their AAA games. The AAA environment itself is so bloated that it's coming to a point where the indie developers are kind of starting to take over.
I love it. I'm all here for these indie developers coming up.
And
real quick as well, sorry, just to put a pin in that, and we'll come right back to it, because I just want to also state EA has also canceled the Black Panther game. That is no longer.
Yes, they have. I just read that.
They said there was going to be an evolved nemesis system in it.
Yep. So that's literally like going on to your point of like spread too thin. Literally just could not keep up. They had to cancel that game. But go back to what you were saying. Sorry.
And well, what I was going to say is it kind of brings me back to the point of Pocket Pair. People had told them to just hire a bunch more developers and artists and stuff and start pumping out content faster for their games. And they went, we don't want to do that because it's a very slippery slope and we're going to end up in the same kind of bloat as AAA games are. So the slower, more methodical with an eye on the vision approach, it can be frustrating for gamers who because you can burn through content faster than the developers can create it, especially in a game that is kind of open-ended, where you're not going to run out of game because you're not hitting the credits. There's always something else to do. You're going to
Kinda
burn
like-
through all the new content and not have anything else until,
Kind of like how Schedule 1 is right now.
But again, wasn't Schedule 1 just one dude just doing his thing?
Mm-hmm. That's where the game is right now. Is I love the game. I've burned through the content. And he's literally he just hired like 2 or 3 more developers to help him kind of
Now,
crank out faster. But he's like, it's still just me. I'm still just a one-man team. And
in his
you guys
case,
are gonna have to
he never really intended for his game to get bigger, right?
blow
He
up-
just kind of
blow up like
he
this,
just
yeah.
kind of put it out there after making it and went, it's a game. And people went, I need this. And he went, oh,
Mm.
shit.
But that's an issue for the consumers, because we have to start to realize that it's a hobby. You're not supposed to be like burning through content so quickly that you're just
Exactly.
for more.
Look,
Take your time, take breaks, and then do something else.
However,
that's
Don't
the
rush
thing
these
is,
devs with all this like, oh,
But-
release this content here. Like if you get a content drop every quarter, every 2 quarters, that's perfectly fine. You don't need something
Yes.
every fucking week. Like,
But
a lot of
again,
these players
this
are like,
is-
this is boring. I'm gonna move on to another game. Like, you should, but you shouldn't be trying to rush these devs, because that's why we it's a symptom that the
It's-
entire industry as a whole, which we are included in because we are consumers, has created this crunch upon the devs to where they push out content and then the content's not even good. Look at GTA 5 Online. A lot of those updates were not that substantial. You can burn through within like a couple of hours.
Mhm.
And that's like, and what I'm trying to go to, and what I'm trying to say is, though, we are running out of developers that are just doing this for the love of the game, that are just doing this because they want to do it. He even said this is just a hobby for him. I think his name is Tyler 1 or something like that. He said that he didn't expect his game to blow up that much, and he's literally just making this content drops for the love of the game because he loves doing it and he loves seeing the support he has for the game. And that's why I always try to, and I agree with Chungus, is we shouldn't burn through it. We shouldn't be sitting there demanding we want more, because it's going to make these developers that are doing it for the love of the game burn out and not want to do it anymore.
and
Well,
then
here's the other
most
thing,
people
too.
go into game development because they're gamers and they love gaming and they want to be into it. But a lot of them very quickly realize that it's
But before
not about the
I,
passion.
just real quick, put a pin in that real quick, because I wanted to talk about something indie real quick. There's an indie developer out there that created a 100-man versus 1 gorilla game where you play as the gorilla. And it, like, I showed the content to Chungus, and him and I have both had a good laugh over it so far, but I want to see if we can find that game.
I love games like that where you are just intentionally overpowered and they just cut you loose to go do stupid stuff.
Kind of like Goat Simulator.
What's up, guys? Father?
All right, what's up, guys?
All right, so back to where we put a pin in that one. When I started seeing like the 5M community on Grand Theft Auto, I ain't gonna lie, I started laughing at it. But then the more I got in, I started digging in for like this episode, the episode before this, Thirsty Thursday. I started doing research for more of my stuff. The more that community made sense. And
But-
that community could really redefine gaming in general.
But if you
Because
remember,
if you were to take this same idea, and I'm going to throw out an example here. If you were to take this idea over to Star Trek Online, a game that comes out with new content, I swear to God, every quarter. And it's not because the content is being thought of, it's because it has 45 years worth of canon that it can slowly trickle out. But they're onto something. And I'm talking about the 5M community, the RP or the PvP, because for Star Trek, it could be so much better if you were to allow the players to start claiming systems or claiming sectors. And instead of a one button uh, fix your ship, you have to take it to space dock, and it takes hours, not mere minutes, but hours to repair your ship.
I'll do you
Yeah.
one better than that. Star Trek bridge crew type deal. Instead of going on the bridge and actually manually operating it, you got to crawl your ass down to engineering and start fixing it. You're through the bowels of the ship and the Jeffries tubes and everything. That's how you fix the ship. You get to go be the engineer.
But I
Yeah.
love how Godfather brought up the 5M because, I mean, I play a lot of 5M myself. But if you remember, and Chungus is gonna have to fact check me on this because wasn't it last year when Activision or Call of Duty sent out a cease and desist about the Modern Warfare 2 mod revamp, where you needed Modern Warfare Remastered in order, and they had it on sale at the time. And just before the Modern Warfare 2 mod pack dropped for the game, they sent a cease and desist.
Yeah, so they
Well,
knew about the
well,
mod being developed, and they made the game go on sale, so people would be like, buy the remaster, they can get the mod, play the mod, and then cease and desist to the mod makers.
right the day before the launch. But what I'm trying to say though is Rockstar Games has actually, if I remember correctly, they hired on a bunch of the 5M
creators for GTA 6.
creators for GTA 6.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is true.
Look at how Bethesda has been treating all of the modders that are making the Skyblivion mod. They're walking hand in hand for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing with Starfield too for Bethesda.
So what I wanted to say, because I wanted to bring up something with the and I think why am I forgetting? Zanar was about to bring this up, but mods for games have always been and always will be the best version of these games.
They breathe longevity into the game.
Exactly, like Skyrim.
They fix issues that developers can't or won't for whatever reason. You know, if it's not cost effective to do it, they're not going to. Developers do it for free because they love the game. Yeah, guys.
So one of the issues we're going to run into as a community with these modders, with this 5M community, and with the ideas that we are discussing right now, because I read an article about it. I'm not pro and I'm not anti, so please don't take it as either way. I'm more neutral than I am anything. But a lot of these gaming developers, artists, music composers, you know, all the 500 different pieces to go into it, they are signing union contracts. And in that union contract, they are more than likely going to put something in there. And I'm just speculating, and I do not know this for sure. Okay. But they're probably going to put something in there to where they're going to try and kill this community. Because hold on, Chunks. I'm talking
I know.
realistic now. This is my opinion only. But if I know the unions, and you look industry-wide at any industry for that matter, okay? Music industry is going through it now, so is the movie industry, about AI and about content creators. They move in to kill them because the way they look at it as is it's taking money and it's taking work off of their plate. Like I said, I'm not for, I'm not against. I'm running right down the middle.
Not an argument for you at all. It's just talking about it. The only way they will ever be able to actually enforce this is if they have kernel level anti-malware or fucking cheatware built into their games, i.e., like Helldivers 2. Because otherwise, you could get a mod and you could change files on PC. They can't stop you. I could replace files for the game if I wanted to.
Yep.
And I mean, you see that. You see that, and I'm glad Chungus brought up this point because you see this in Helldivers too, where you can change something, you can delete files, or you can change files, and you can change things cosmetically. But as soon as you do something game changing, or like try to change like the
You change
damage rate on a gun,
visuals, but as soon as you mess with any of the mechanics or the balance of the game itself, you are banned
you will be
instantly.
in.
Like, you are
Hmm.
banned. Your account
Hmm.
is banned, and you can no longer
As it
access
should be.
online PC. And as
Nothing
it should
you
be.
do should be able to affect other players.
And
Exactly.
that's
Which is
and that,
why in a single player offline game, you should be able to do whatever you want.
Yep.
Oblivion Remastered. If I want to, I should be able to design and build a mod to do whatever the ever living hell I want to that game, because the only person it's going to affect is me.
And I will say this: there are companies that they make it harder for mod support or anything like that.
And
But I will say this:
game
if there's
devs
a
actively
will,
fight against it.
if there's a will, there is a way. Because the PC community, these players, these modders, they take this shit seriously, and it is a passion, and that's why they will always get it done. I believe
Well,
it was Skyrim didn't
but
have great mod support in the first place, so they built the fucking code to make mods better for Skyrim.
But you also
here's the
have
other thing
single
that I
player
see, too.
games getting packaged with crap like De Novo. And
Here-
that's demanding kernel level access.
Yeah.
And
Here's the other thing that I'm starting to see too, is could this whole Switch 2 making it a brick, could that be the opening shots?
that's Nintendo trying,
I think-
and the first time it
Let's
happens,
look long term. Let's look long term, industry wide, because normally you get a trailblazer, and this is any industry. You get a trailblazer. Let's see if we can make this happen. Let's see how much blowback we get, because that's probably what Microsoft is doing right now, and what PlayStation is doing. They're sitting back and they're watching. Nintendo didn't agree to do this all on their own.
Nintendo totally decided to do it. But yeah,
Well,
everybody else is
okay,
always
you
watching
know what I
everything
mean.
that happens. It's all cause and
Yeah,
effect.
yeah.
It's just
I mean-
like as soon as Nintendo announced their price increases, all of a
Everything else
sudden, everybody else is starting to go up again.
and it's also, and I mean, this is where we've always talked about multiple times in multiple episodes, where we need to hold these gaming companies accountable for what they're doing, especially with what
You can't,
Nintendo's
though.
doing right now. And
You
that's
can't,
what
though.
that's the point. That's the point I'm getting to, is you've got these fanboy bootlickers that'll sit there and buy the game no matter what, and you get it with every single console, you get it with every single company. It doesn't matter. We can sit there and
That-
say, hold these companies accountable, but you're gonna have these diehard fans at
You
the end of the day that are gonna buy it. Yeah,
And it's not just one or two fans, it's thousands.
right.
I mean,
It-
look
it's-
at the Switch 2. There was a massive outrage over the price, but at the same time, you're seeing news articles saying that it's selling out in
Pre-order sales.
pre-orders.
Yep.
Yeah, they can't
Mhm.
keep up with it right now.
Especially in Japan, they're having a hard time meeting even production standards there.
I mean,
Um,
Nintendo is like the god king of Japan. So
I know, but you'd think they'd have enough manufacturing there to, be able to meet the band
Hey,
there.
Have you seen how many people live in Japan?
No, like maybe like 6.
For such
They
a
have it-
tiny bit of land, there's a lot of people there, so it makes sense that they would have trouble keeping up.
I
They're
do
having
see-
problems filling orders in the United States.
looking at the future for like Nintendo doing that. Absolutely, they're waiting to see what the backlash is and how much they can actually get away
Yep.
with. That's always what it is. But I'll say this right here, right now: the future of gaming is on the PC. I don't care what anybody says. You could be like, consoles are cool.
I agree
That's
with you.
also great. But the fact of the matter is, once these consoles they're getting to the point of where you can, instead of buying a console, you can just build a low end PC and play the same games.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I would
Consoles are
just like
starting
to
to get
point out
expensive enough.
that PC can look like this.
Oh yeah.
I gotta figure that out.
Yeah, and that's like Chungus has said, is looking at console prices now, we're at the low 600s for just a base console, not talking about the enhanced console like the PS5 Pro or the Xbox Series
Well,
X S,
Let me
whatever.
stop you there, Fireball. Let me stop you there. The prices. I was talking to one of my good friends the other day about this. Offline is none of the gamers. He is an economist, and when I was talking to him, I brought up the consoles, and he said no, they're really not that expensive. If you look back to the late 80s, early 90s for the original Nintendo, you look back at the original PlayStation, the original Xbox, and you take that as your base, and you run to today, he says, yes, they have risen a little bit, but it is not as much as everyone's thinking. It is just the day and age that we live in, where when it used to be, I can remember the regular Nintendo being $199, $200. However, your base salary for that area and for that time was if you had a $13 an hour job, you were in heaven. You were living high on the hog. Nowadays, if you're making $13, $14 an hour,
You can't
you
survive.
can barely survive.
You
Right.
can't.
So
And that's like,
you have to take in the account of overtime and how the economy is doing. And I'm not bringing politics anymore into this, but how the economy is doing. The prices of these consoles are really not. They're pretty well priced.
and even then, and that's where this is the next thing I want to go into is, even then, now with where the console prices are at, they still talk about how each console they sell, they still take a loss on their product
Mm-hmm.
because they
It's
make
only
a,
$100 increase from what it used to be back in like the early
Mhm.
2000s and 90s.
exactly.
That's
And
right. It's not a whole bunch more, but when you come to the fact of the matter where it's like wages have not increased, so them raising the price and people are still making the same amount of money, yeah, it's going to be a huge compounding
Again,
factor.
Chungus, and I'm down the middle on this. I'm not either side. But when you get a union involved, okay, the union is going to demand fair prices. Okay, no matter how you look at it. I don't care if you agree with them. I don't care if you disagree with them. That's the fact. They're gonna ask for
That's
higher wages.
that's all
And when
fine and
you ask
dandy.
for higher
Hold on,
wages,
that's all
then they're
fine and
going to raise
dandy.
prices on you.
But I don't if it costs more to make a game, you should sell at the whatever price would be appropriate for that game, right? That's all fine and dandy for the game. For the console, when you ship me something that is not any better than the last generation, but you're going to charge me more for it, I'm not willing to pay that price. It's the whole reason why I don't like Apple products. I legitimately, there's not much innovation when they go to another upgrade for it, and you have to pay a couple $100 more. I'm not doing that. If I'm going to spend money, that amount of money on something, I don't care if it's $10. If it's better than the last product and you want to charge me 20 for it now, that's fine. But if you charge me 30 for the same fucking product again, I'm not doing that.
Well,
That's
and that's like,
makes no that's stupid.
and that's
Break,
why like,
break. 5-minute warning, boys.
okay, and that's like, and we were talking about this before we even started the podcast, back when the PS5 was still steadily rolling out, and we had the PS4, we had a PS4 Pro in the house. We were comparing the details on what the operating system was, and then the PS5 dropped, and we were like, this is pretty much the
Not much
same
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they wanted like what, 150, 175 bucks more for it.
And
Launch
you couldn't
price for
get
the PS. Well, it depends on which version you got. Digital only was only $400. If you wanted the with the disc version, it was like 500. Which legitimately, if you went out and got a brand new, not open
Oh,
before
thanks for the hearts, Mr. Britt.
PS
Sorry.
PS4 Pro, which does almost the exact same thing as the PS5 does, baseline, for like $200 less, why would you not do that? It was like $300 for a PS4 Pro.
Okay, let me break in.
Right.
Let me break in. Fireball, do we have any comments?
No,
on your
I
socials?
was I didn't mean to cut off Chungus about that, but I was getting a couple of gifts on TikTok, so I had to shout them out real quick.
Hey, Crest Rider, anything on your end?
Nope.
Okay. Please continue.
No, it's just the I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Talking about the PS5 versus
Yeah,
the
yeah,
PS4
but
Pro.
it's just like like the PS4 Pro, and I know that people are gonna come out and you can fact check me and everything like that. That the hardware differences are there, absolutely. The optimization and performance for it did not show this though. I'm not going to lie to you. Gaming people need to realize that these companies are absolutely like Nintendo's proving it. They can give an update to enable certain software for their console, even though it comes with the ability to do so. You're telling me there's an update after the Switch 2 is going to launch that's going to enable usage of a micro SD slot, even though the game it comes with one already. It should be able to function. My point in saying this is like the whole argument of like 30 frames a second or being able to get the 40 frames a second on a console. Realistically, these are essentially going to be low-end PCs here in the next iteration. Let's be honest here.
Low end.
They will
PCs.
absolutely be able to run at 60 frames plus. A low-end PC now can do that. I'm not saying that mine is a low-end PC, but it's starting to get dated. This is something from 2019 that has a 3050 inside of it, right? I'm able to run games at around, on average, 40 or plus frames, depending on the type of game and what texture quality and everything I'm running at, right? Which is typically medium to high. So that's the standard, is what I'm going to put it at, right?
I mean, and yeah, and it's like,
if these consoles increase to, like, let's say they're $700, $800 to buy a console, stop doing it. Stop. These are no longer worthwhile products. You should just start investing in a PC, because at this point in time, that's where Microsoft is going towards. We can see that clear as day. They want to market more towards the PC individuals, because that's where the money's at. You get, like, if you look at the population of players on Steam or any other digital marketplace that can buy on PCs, it is starting to outpace the console. And the only reason the consoles are still holding on is because of all the other countries. I'm basing this off of American metrics, by the way. I won't specify that, because when you start to look at the amount of sales the PlayStation has, it's typically all around the world, South America, over in Africa. I mean, it's just everywhere, right? But my point still stands. Like, I know I'm kind of glazing PC, but I've legitimately, when I say I've seen the light, I've come to realize, after being a console player up until 2019, like, legitimately, it's just not worthwhile anymore.
And again, I agree with Chungus on this aspect, because, again, we're talking American metrics here. I apologize for any viewers that we have outside the United States, but looking at American metrics, looking at prices for consoles, 600, 650, 700, it's so much easier just to buy a PC, and you get so much more
freedom,
freedom and variety when it comes to a PC. I think the only better freedom, the second best freedom to come from a console is Xbox. Looking at PlayStation, you really don't get the amount of mod opportunities that you would on Xbox or on PlayStation that you would on Xbox or on PC. And that's the biggest problem, is if you're going to pay this kind of money for a PlayStation. Granted, I've been a PlayStation boy my entire life growing up. I had the PS3, I had the PS4, I had the PS5. Now that I got my PC, I don't want to buy anything on PlayStation, because I can buy it more easily on PC, and I get access to, like, let's say, for instance, I bought Fallout 4. In comparison, playing it on PlayStation, I don't have as many mod options as I do on Xbox or on PC. I don't have, like, more visual settings on PlayStation than I do on PC. I mean, I can get ray tracing and stuff like that on PC, but on PlayStation, it looks like the same cartoony-ish game that I grew up playing.
I just wish.
Break. Tech Boy. We are way out of time, but Tech Boy.
No, you said 5-minute warning.
We're at 5. We're at 5 right now.
No,
let's let Chris Ryder finish.
I've been watching the goddamn clock. Is it?
Let Chris Ryder finish.
Chris Ryder, finish your point.
Chris Ryder, finish.
I was just gonna say, I just wish everyone would take the same approach that Xbox is starting to, where you put out all the hardware you want, put your games everywhere. Let the players decide where they want to play them.
Yeah.
And
power to the players.
Cross save, cross play,
cross progression as well.
That's the cross save.
Sorry.
You can save on one
item
and bring it up on another.
No fireball.
No.
Helldivers can go suck my dick for what they did to me.
Language, sir.
I am
G-rated program.
Guys, the second you got on this platform, it was no longer G-rated.
Is it X-rated because of how hot I am?
Okay, and just like that, we're out of time. Who wants to take us out?
Wow.
Chris Ryder, you want to take us out, man? You want to start it?
Battle of the Baldies right here.
Gonna do the round of thoughts.
Chris Ryder.
I mean, I'm playing my games. I've been playing a lot of Fantasy Life. Doing a little bit of a power washing simulator because that's just my fun go-to. But other than that, I'm just kicking back and enjoying some games. Did a little Minecraft with Gauze and Sweet Kitty Pie the other night, and gonna do that again soon. And other than that, I got nothing else going.
All
Ooh,
right.
fireball.
With the invasion of Super Earth being done, I think we might take a break from Helldivers and focus on another game. Might go back to Schedule One because there were like 2 or 3 updates before, or 2 or 3 updates after I stopped playing it. So we might go take a look at those. Might get back into another Minecraft series. It just all depends on what's. And here's the thing with Steam Summer Sale coming out, I'll see what's on sale on there, and maybe we can start playing a different game on there. But I don't really have much right now. You know, stream coming Tuesday, stream coming maybe Thursday. Depends on what's going on with the boys and if anybody wants to tag along for those streams. So that's all I got.
What up? So, here's what we got going on. I will be streaming probably tomorrow afternoon. It'll probably be Grand Theft Auto 5. So join me sometime in the afternoon. Just be monitoring my Facebook, and I'll give you guys a 30-minute warning. Beyond that, don't let me forget, guys, that I have something to talk to you guys about right before we sign off. Other than that, Talking Tuesday's coming up Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Time over on Godfather. That's all I got.
Heyo, how's it going? Still working on the Dead by Daylight video. That'll be coming out to you here soon. On top of it, I do have a game plan, so to speak, of the lore videos I do plan on going in with. And, you know, considering that I'm already doing the work for this Dead by Daylight video, that's looking like it's going to be the first lore video as well. So hopefully, you know, you guys will enjoy that. Be on the lookout for those videos. That's all I have. So with that being said, bringing it back to all 4 of us.
One thing I will say before we sign out, I will let you guys know when we are clear, and I have muted both my audio and my mics so that way nothing stupid is said on my TikTok and I don't get a second strike.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
For Minecraft, do we want to put a poll up to let our fans name our realm?
Yeah,
I
we can
mean,
do that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've essentially not. I'm. But being
You're
completely
on
honest
there.
with you,
Don't even try it.
I'm not. I haven't played Minecraft in over a year.
Yeah,
Your
well,
2
too
week
bad.
phase is coming, don't worry.
No, it won't
Yeah,
be
it's
coming to
coming.
the realm. It'll be to modded Minecraft, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
when you do that, I'll probably hop on there with you.
yeah.
Well, then guess what? Screw you guys.
Sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
You have a
What do you want from me?
you have a
PC
PC
ready?
now. You have a PC
now.
now.
Join us.
So
I
now
don't
you can
care.
mod in Minecraft with us.
I don't care. No,
Okay.
I have my own realm.
All right.
I've worked really hard on that realm.
Okay.
All right, let's sign out of here. Let's get going.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys later. You know who I am. No need for an outro.
It's Fireball,
guys.
by the way.
Well, since they tried to do it to me last week, and if they do it to me again, I'm totally just taking over the show. We'll go. This is an Crest Rider signing off.
Peace and love. God's Father's out the door.
This is Kaiser Chunkus. Ciao. He said it for me.